Hi there. Welcome to Cretan Classics. I am Davey Cretan, and today I have two very special guests from the Midwest with me, the Underlords of the Overworld. Yes, Brent and Brian are here. Thank you for joining me, guys. Wave hello, Brent and
Thanks for having us.
Brian.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having us, Davey.
no problem. And these guys have a bunch of cool CDs. This is their debut self-titled album. There they are on the back in cartoon form. This is the follow-up. And you could find these they're all on Bandcamp, right?
Bandcamp, Spotify, all pretty much all streaming service.
Nice. And the third album, the most recent, Travelers in Time. And there are some really good guitar solos and some great playing on here. All these are instrumental albums, but the gentlemen have a new album called Lottery of Your Life, correct?
Yes.
Nice. And that
Yep.
is coming out in the month of April, most likely. So you can find that on Bandcamp. I'm sure eventually it'll be on the streaming services.
Actually, it's right now it's on all the streaming services right now. It's
Okay,
just the
so
physical, the coaster version of it is we're waiting on that.
and that's what I'm waiting for too, to have it to play in my car with these others that I've heard. They're all very good. But the new album has vocals on it.
hmm
That's the difference.
hmm
And they also have a bunch of books too, a bunch of novels. Show them off really fast. Ooh, the cover of the first album
hmm
Yeah.
and the cover of the third album. They all
hmm
match. I haven't
Wow.
had time to read the book. I haven't had time to read the books yet, but I have played all the CDs. And the new one is really good. You guys should check it out. It has vocals if you're interested in it. And I
Thank
think
you.
it's a bit of a throwback to the 70s. There's artwork on the new album that'll remind you of a certain band that you guys sound a little like, a little bit of old school Kiss, a little
Oh,
bit of BOC, some classic
Wow.
hard rock. I wouldn't call it
nice.
metal.
No.
Yeah. No.
It's catchy. It's got good choruses, great hooks. So you guys should check it out. Now, besides their band, the
Mhm.
Underlords of the Overworld, they also have a YouTube page, and that's how I found them. And the YouTube page is under the name Underlords, without an apostrophe, Underlords Universe. So
hmm
check them out there. Now, today you've seen by the thumbnail, we are here to name our top 12 tunes from Judas Priest, the metal gods themselves.
And Brent, you are sporting which priest shirt?
This is the
Ah,
the faith
Defenders.
shirt. Yeah.
Defenders
Excellent.
of the Faith. We
Yeah.
might hear about some songs from that album. Now,
Awesome.
I already know that on my list, I've hit 11 of the 19 studio albums. So
It's a
Hmm.
good mix.
a little more than half, and basically from the beginning to the modern era, but more on that shortly. Just a
hmm
quick overview of the band. From Birmingham, England. I think that's how they pronounce it there, Birmingham. Ian Hill on bass guitar. He's been on every studio record. Glenn Tipton on guitars, a little bit of keyboards and backing vocals at the beginning of the career, especially. He's been on every record. Unfortunately, he can't really tour anymore. Rob Halford on vocals on every album but two of them. And of course, who took his place? But Tim Ripper Owens for the 90s, part of the 90s. Scott Travis on drums from 89 to the present day. Richie Faulkner on guitar, 2011 to the present day. And let's not forget the great KK Downing. And I saw his band last September in Pennsylvania. KK Downing on guitar until 2011. He left, unfortunately, never came back. And the guitar duo of Tipton and Downing, one of my favorite guitar tandem duos. And that might be another show for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, have you guys ranked the catalog of Judas Priest on your channel?
We have not done it on our channel, but I've got them all ready to go. And
We will.
Brent, yeah.
Maybe
So
that's something we could do in the future, but we'll discuss that off camera later.
okay, okay.
They've
Yeah.
also had five prior drummers really fast. John Hinch, Alan Moore, Simon Phillips, but he really wasn't a member of the band. They wanted him to become a member, but he didn't want to. And he went on to have a great career. Everyone knows and loves Simon Phillips. Les Binks, Dave Holland, and at the beginning, before Rob Halford, there was Al Atkins on vocals. And he wrote some good songs which the band used, and we might hear about those songs later on in the show. So check out these guys, Underlords Universe on YouTube. Underlords of the Overworld is their band. Brian and Brent from the Midwest. And we're going to start with our top 12 Judas Priest songs. We're going to go round robin, Brent, Brian, and then myself. We're going to do two at a time. So why don't you start off the festivities, Brent?
All right, we're going to start with a song that Davey, you and I talked briefly about before. I'm going to go to the Sad Wings album, and I'm going with Deceiver. Not Dreamer Deceiver,
Okay.
but Deceiver. I love Dreamer Deceiver, but there's something about the beginning of Deceiver that just really, really grabs me by and it's just the vocal, the lyric. I love when Rob does like the cosmic stuff, kind of the outer space type stuff. I love the way the guitars kind of work with each other in that beginning when the opening riff starts. They're not playing the same riff, and Priest have done that a lot throughout their career, where the rhythm guitars don't do the same thing. They don't always double up each other, which is really cool on that track. Great. I mean, we're going to talk about guitar solos a lot, right? Great guitar solo, just a great song. Short, 2 minutes and 40 some seconds maybe, but what a kick in the you-know-whats, a kick in the you-know-whats for that great song. So I'm going to go with Deceiver as my number 12. Number 11, I'm going to go to Rockarola, and this is the new version, the remastered version, which is phenomenal. And I'm going to go with Never Satisfied, which I think this album is a little bit too off maligned sometimes. I know Brian has said he likes this better than Sad Wings of Destiny. I don't know if I can go that far, but I would say that Never Satisfied is an incredibly good song with great riffs, great solos. Again, another really nice breakdown part in the middle, featuring really good guitar solos. Another great vocal from Rob. This album, is kind of slow and plodding, if you will. I think Never Satisfied is a good example of that, but really, really tasty, really good, just a really catchy riff. And Priest, as you guys know, they're really good at putting together really nice, not necessarily metal. We could say this is metal or not, I don't know, but really good hard rock riffs. And Never Satisfied has one of their best riffs, in my opinion. So my first two, I'm going to go with Deceiver and Never Satisfied, number 12 and 11.
Cool. And you guys, I
Nice.
should say, you guys did a show on the reissue of Rockarola
Yeah.
on your
Yeah,
channel.
We did.
So check that out on Underlords Universe.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
Brian, you're up with your
Yeah. So, can I just start by saying this was a tough task that you put before us.
Oh yeah.
It was really, really hard to narrow this down from like 35 or 40, right?
Yeah.
But I just kept going back to certain songs, and we're gonna start off my top 12. I'm gonna start with Solar Angels.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm.
The Point of Entry album, I think, is often kind of unfairly maligned. You can obviously tell they were going for a more commercial sound, more, kind of pop oriented, more melodic, whatever, what have you. But and I quite like the record all the way through. I don't think there's anything that I really dislike on it, but Solar Angels is definitely a high point on that record. It really kind of gets. I really get the sensation of flight from the little sound effects they put in there with like a jet fighter kind of swooshing through there, and I don't know. I've always loved that song. So Solar Angels is going to come in at my 12, and then Victim of Changes. And Victim of Changes, you might say, oh my gosh, that has to be on the list. I struggled actually with this, partly because in doing this list, I was really stuck on just sticking with the studio versions themselves. And I've always preferred live versions of Victim of Changes to the studio version itself. But then I came down to the thought that it's top 12 songs, it's the song itself. The version probably doesn't matter really in and of itself. So, but you got, an Al Atkins song and, being blended in with a Rob Halford song, which is just cool, connecting to their early days. It's progressive in the sense that it goes through those different moods.
Yep.
I think it's just undeniable. Now, somebody might say, gosh, you have that at number 11. If you're a lifelong Priest fan, it's really hard to put all these in a ranking, which was a fun challenge, but that's where I'm sticking it today. Next week it might be different.
Okay.
So Solar Angels, Victim of Changes.
Nice. Excellent choices so far. Okay, I'm going to start off my number 12, 2.5 minute song from 1980, one of their biggest hits from the British Steel album, and I couldn't leave this off my list, Breaking the Law.
Mm.
I know it's the biggest hit, arguably one of their most well-known songs, top 3, maybe 5, but it was a number 12 single in the UK, which is surprising that 45 years ago, a hard rock / heavy metal song like that, with the solo and the riffs and everything, could make it almost to the top 10 in England. So that's a pretty cool thing. It's so simple, yet it's so catchy and it rocks. Great guitar work from the boys. And you even hear Ian Hill's bass here, which I like. Because later on in the 80s, 90s, he wasn't
sure.
there as much. Just like our friend John Mayung from Dream Theater. Where did he go? Sometimes you hear him, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't. At any rate, who could forget sorry about that. Who could forget that classic video
Oh man.
with Rob
Oh.
Halford just bending the bar
Yeah, the
to
steel
get into
bar.
that bank vault to steal the gold record before it went platinum? They filmed the video. It eventually went platinum. So they stole a gold album, but that is a great early video from 1980. Come on, man. It's undeniable. Classic. And bonus points for Rob's "You Don't Know What It's Like" line when he does that part in the middle, and then you get the sirens. Really great song. Breaking the Law, my number 12. Moving on to an album that Brian just mentioned, the follow-up album from 1981, Point of Entry, 3 minutes 45 seconds, a number 10 hit on the newly created Billboard mainstream rock chart at the time, Heading Out to the Highway. It's another insanely catchy chorus here, just like the previous song. Exquisite dual harmony, short, sweet guitar solo. Some nice drum work here, too. Love Rob's vocal performance on this song, especially the ending of it. And I've never told this on a YouTube video, I once auditioned for a metal band that was going to do covers, and I auditioned with this song. Needless to say, I didn't get the job. That's because there's only one true original metal god, and that is Rob Halford, and I'm more like a metal frog. Ribbit! So my number 12, Breaking the Law. My number 11, Heading Out to the Highway. And that way he sings that chorus, he's got nothing to lose at all. Ooh, shivers. Those are my two. Back to you, Brent.
And another great video on Heading Out to the Highway,
That's- Yeah, for
where I
sure.
believe Dave Holland's wearing a necktie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Right.
he is. Yep.
All right, we're going to move to the Hellbent for Leather album, or Killing Machine in the UK. And we're going to go with a song called Burning Up at my number 10. And I'll tell you, folks, this song is red hot. Red hot. Oh, man, it has like a, how do you want to describe the rhythm guitar of that song? It's just got such a groove to it, just a really nice groove, different than a lot of Priest songs. With that riff, it's almost as, I don't know, it's hard to describe. You guys know what I'm talking about because you know the song. But Burning Up, great song, great vocal from Rob. Great vocal from Rob. Love the chorus, love the main riff. The guitar work's exquisite. Yeah, Burning Up, number 10. I'm going to go number 9. We're going to go to the Defenders album, Defenders of the Faith, and I'm going with Eat Me Alive.
Oh,
which
surprise.
was one of what the songs that Tipper Gore didn't particularly care for back in the day. I quite enjoy it. Of course, back then we didn't quite know maybe all the ins and outs of what the vocals and the lyrics meant. Today it has a little bit of a different meaning than it did before, but I love the song more now than I ever have. I remember as a kid plugging in to my amplifier and just trying to play that, play the riff. And by the end of the song, my right hand is like really, really, really sore and stiff because it's just a really, really thrashy type song with an incredible vocal. Rob's vocals on the whole album are spectacular, but Eat Me Alive has just got such a killer chorus and it's just a grit to it. And the lyrics are just they're just dirty, and I just love it. Just filthy. It's such a good song. I could not put it on this list. So number 10, Burning Up, and number 9, Eat Me Alive. I don't know if we would say those are deep cuts, but it's going to be interesting to see how many deep cuts they are on this list.
I think they are.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. My next.
Yes.
Okay. So my number 10 is going to be from the third album, Sin After Sin, Sinner, which I can't predict what Brent's going to do necessarily, but having known him all my life, I have a feeling that he'll at least respond to what I have to say here. Or I don't know, maybe you'll keep your powder dry, but Sinner is just, I mean, it's just epic. It's just absolutely epic. And it just has such a drive to it. And the breakdown with Ken's solo in the middle, it's hard to get any better than that. If you were to ask like what's Ken Downing's best solo, I'd say probably Sinner. And then a nod to the live version from the 82 show. Brent, where is that?
Oh, from Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. I keep wanting to say it's like Houston, but no, it's Memphis, I think.
Yeah.
That live version of Sinner on that show is that's awesome. That's awesome. So Sinner is coming in at 10, and at 9 is Free Wheel Burning. And it's funny. I always thought that Dave Holland's drumming on Free Wheel Burning, it just sounded like the wheels were all about to fall off. Like he was just keeping up, with the rest of the band, which is, not really what a drummer, it's like everything should be like laying on the drums as a foundation. But to me, when I listen to Free Will Burning, it's like the band is just burning forward and Dave is just trying really hard to just make sure he just sticks with the song. And I think that gives it kind of an urgency. And I don't know. I don't know what to say beyond I've always loved that song. I think it's arguably the one or two best songs on that record off of Defenders of the Faith. So I don't know if I'm giving anything away by saying that, but I'm going to go with Sinner and then Free Will Burning.
And Rob's vocal on Free Will Burning is awesome. That whole speedy middle section, when I was younger, I used to be able to do that. I don't know if I could pull it, not at that level, but maybe an octave or 3 or 7 lower.
What about the end of the song? I mean, the last Free Wheel Burning. I mean, that gives me chills. Hair on the back of my neck stand up when I hear that every time. It's
for sure.
Great song. It was on my larger list, but it did not make my list. I'm just going to say that. Maybe something else from Defenders did. We'll have to see. My number 10, little under 6 minutes. In the UK, it was a number 58 single. Here in America, it was number 29 on the Billboard mainstream rock chart. Little under 544 in length. From Painkiller, A Touch of Evil, featuring on keyboards and Mini Moog or Moog. You say Moog, I say Moog. Let's call the whole thing off. Hey, Don Airey now of Deep Purple. He's played with Ozzy. He's played with Coliseum 1 or 2 or 17, whatever. Don Airey's played with everyone. Great
Hmm.
journeyman keyboard player who's now found a home in Deep Purple, another band we all love. And he plays, like I said, keyboards and mini moog bass on here. And no one is sure, is Ian Hill even on this song? Or is it all synthy bass? Who knows? But Airey's presence gives a proggy air to this song. See what I did there? In my notes, I have that. To the whole proceedings of A Touch of Evil. Excellent sing along chorus here. It's gothic, it's moody, it's a mini masterpiece to me. Got a great melodic guitar solo by Glenn Tipton. And when Rob screams, "You're possessing me,"
Oh,
woo, Rob rules there. Just that super high register. I'm not even going to try it. And Chris, and I hope I'm pronouncing this name right because I've heard other YouTubers say it. Sangarides, Chris Sangarides,
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
excellent, thank you. Co-produced the album with the band, and he wrote the main guitar riff to this song, so he gets a songwriting credit on here, along with the three main songwriters of Priest at the time, Halford, Tipton, and Mr. Downing. So that is my number 10, A Touch of Evil. Song I've always loved, one of the high points of that album for me. Moving on, a song that I just heard from Brian, my number 9 from 1977, a hair under 7 minutes, from Sin After Sin, Sinner. This band has great opening tracks. They have great side closing tracks, great album closing tracks. But Sinner opening up Sin After Sin, wow. And just like you said, I wrote in my notes a mini epic to open up their third album. It contains a multitude of awesome performances. Guest drummer Simon Phillips here, just perhaps the best drummer they ever had, but I know that's arguable depending who you feel is the best drummer. He shines here, as does Rob's vocal performance. Tipton and Downing riff and blaze furiously both together and apart. I dig that. I wrote down, just like you said, I dig that proggy breakdown in the middle of the song. It's nice and elongated, and Halford shrieks to the heavens on this song. Mint album opener, and I love Simon's ending drum roll to the song.
Mm.
Dinner,
Good call.
classic friggin' song. So that is my number 9, Sinner. 10, A Touch of Evil. Back to you, Brent.
Okay. So number 8, I'm going to go with the title track of the Stained Class album, Stained Class. And I think there's an argument that can be made that this is like the first like real metal record like that Priest did. I don't really consider Sin After Sin to be as much of a metal record as I do this album. But Stained Class to me is like the cream of the crop on this album. Great riff, great vocal from Rob, and great guitar work as usual. As great as this version is, I think the best version might be on Rob's Live Insurrection
Interesting.
live album, which is a great version of that. I think that was what 2000, 2001, sometime there thereabouts. But I'm gonna go with Stained Class, the title track of that record. And then for number 7, I'm gonna go back to the Sad Wings album for Victim of Changes. I can't really say anything that Brian didn't already say. It's a classic song. It had to be in my list. It's just a matter kind of where it was going to fit in. It's got everything that you would want in a song in it. The riff, the vocal, the guitar solo, the breakdown section in the middle, the mood changes, the light and shade. It's all there. It's a beautiful song, but it's an angry song. It's an aggressive song, but it's a light song. Great versions of it live on Unleashed in the East album, obviously. I think if anybody wants to know maybe if someone say, hey, what's a song by this band, Judas Priest, I kind of want to check them out. What would you recommend? Victim of Changes might be that first song that you would refer them to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how you could put together a list of the top 12 or 15 Priest songs and have this not on the list. So my number 8, Stained Class. Number 7, Victim of Changes.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I also am going over to the Stained Class album for my number eight. And but while I do agree with you, Brent, that the title track is awesome, I'm going with Saints in Hell. I think Saints in Hell has one of the best riffs on that entire album, their entire catalog. I love the kind of the breakdown in the middle and how it just kind of goes on just almost a hair too long, and then it kind of builds, which builds the tension back up to where the when the main riff comes back in. And when that main riff comes back in, it's like a sledgehammer. I just love it. It's heavy, it's pummeling, but it's got a groove to it. And that's I think what they did really, really well in the 70s. It's putting a little bit of groove into some of that stuff. Um, so, and just as a side note, I also would like to say, Brent, you and I saw Van Halen on the Balance Tour in Ames, Iowa, and I remember
Mhm.
in between the opening act and Van Halen, when they always pump music through the PA, "Saints in Hell" was one of the songs that was played, and it always
Hmm.
sticks in my mind because it was like of all the songs, of all the Priest songs, they're pulling that one out, and I was just happy in that moment because it's such a great song. So Saints in Hell is my number eight.
And Brian, didn't they play that the last time we saw them live too? Didn't they play Saints in Hell?
Judas Priest?
Yeah,
Yes, they did. I had to go back and think, when was the last time we saw them? What was last fall?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so I had to go back through my mind and think, well, I mean, because how many times? Yeah, they did. They did play Saints in Hell. Right. Um, correct. So Saints in Hell, and then my number seven from the same album, Invader. I know I mentioned that Saints in Hell has a groove to it, and I think Invader, same thing. There's just a cool groove to Invader. It's got an Ian Hill writing credit, which you don't see much of. I think there's a couple on Rockarola, and then on Invader. So, Brent, you could double check me on that. You usually know that stuff off the top of your head.
Oh no,
So,
you're right. You're right.
yeah, but um, but Invader, I love it's got just a cool groove to it, but it's the chorus. The chorus just has I don't know. There's just something just magical about the chorus of Invader. I do know that they have played it live uh, in the last
Hmm.
not a few years ago. They pulled it out and played it live. It's interesting to pull up live versions of it, like on YouTube. I have to admit, though, the studio version is you can't beat it. So, and I love that kind of cheesy UFO flying saucer sound at the beginning of it, or whatever you want to call that. It
Great.
just, it to me, it's like the pinnacle, the epitome of like 70s rock. I just love it. So Saints in Hell and Invader.
Nice. And I forgot to get my page ready. Okay, moving on to my number eight, right? Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. Eight.
Hey,
Okay, 5 minutes, 20 seconds long from 1982, the Screaming for Vengeance album. One of the deepest cuts, if not the deepest cut on my list. Fever from
Ooh,
Screaming for
oh,
Vengeance.
that's a curveball there.
it is.
I love that opening shimmering guitar line. Just when you hear it in headphones, the way like it's moving has a great shimmering effect. Awesome when Halford double tracks his high and low vocals on verse two on this song. Majestic guitar solo. Stellar bridge middle eight with Rob really screaming for vengeance on that part. Not the song, but the way he sings it. He's at like the top of his register. So Destiny has brought us so close together. That part. He's just way up there in the stratosphere. And then you go back down to that shimmering riff again. The chorus repeats and it just has that sharp ending. Truly outstanding song tucked away on side two. If you don't know it, check out Fever from Screaming for Vengeance. That's my eight. My number seven, I'm going to name my first song from Stained Class now. 5.5 minutes from number 70, from 1978. Exciter. Stand
Mm.
back for Exciter. That opening drum salvo from newbie Les Binks, it just heralds his arrival right there. And you get some sterling, stinging fretwork from Tipton and Downing here. I would say this is one of the early examples of speed metal almost. It's so fast, it's so driving and forceful. And when Halford says, quote, fall to your knees and repent if you please, end quote. That's why he's the metal god right there. You get cascading guitar riffs. They highlight this rocket charged song. A furious flurry of fills and China work end this Titanic tune. Just the way the drums end it, and Les Binks is there. And Simon who? Because there's great drum work on this song, great guitar work. Halford, it's got it all. Exciter, my number 7. Fever, surprisingly, my number 8. Back over to you, Brent.
All right. I'm going to go back to the Stained Class record.
Ooh, a lot of love.
Invader is my number 6. Like Brian said, the chorus is glorious. It's got that cheesy UFO intro, which is amazing. Love it. It's got the Ian Hill writing credit. I don't know. I love when Rob does like the outer space type stuff. I think it's really, really cool. Just different. Priest didn't do a whole lot of songs like Invader. So yep. I love it because it's different, but it's super, super cool. It's always been one of my favorite songs, and it sits in at number 6 on my top 12.
And Brent, we both mentioned the chorus on that as just being something that resonates with us. The end of that song, when you get Rob layering more harmonies on.
Oh yeah. It just builds and builds and builds. Good call out. Yeah. The ending is majestic. It's just what a vocal performance. Now, for my number 5, I'm going to go to the Screaming for Vengeance record, and I'm going with Riding on the Wind. Talk about drum intros for Exciter. Here's another great one. This one's from Dave Holland, and this song just kind of hits you right between the eyes at the start and doesn't let up to the very end. Classic Priest, classic riffs, great solos, great vocal from Rob. One of the greatest live versions. I'm not sure. I think it's from actually a Defenders era TV show that they did. You can find it on YouTube. It's the breakdown section in the middle, that the solo part, spectacular in that particular live version. But this again has always been one of my Priest favorites. It's hard to pick from this record. There's so many good songs on the record, but yeah, gonna go with Riding on the Wind. So number 6 is Invader, and number 5 is Riding on the Wind.
Excellent.
Okay. So my number 5, I'm going to go to back to the Defenders album, Defenders of the Faith.
Wait,
and I'm pulling
wouldn't it be, excuse me, wouldn't it be 6?
Oh, did I say 5?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, 6.
Sorry, 6.
Glad I caught you.
Correct. Yes, thanks for the correction. Number 6, and it's an alliteration. Number 6, Sentinel. So, yes, the Sentinel. To me, the Sentinel. I mean, I think if there's any song in the Priest catalog that tells a story, and there's a lot of, songs about, whatever, creatures and things, but the one song that really just like creates an image in my mind, almost like a comic book, like a graphic novel. It's like there should be a graphic novel version of the Sentinel, I think. It's epic, it goes through great mood changes. It's weird because it doesn't feel like a long song, but it has that epic feel. Like when you're done with the song, it feels like it was just a short song, but at the same time it feels like you've been on this long journey with it because of the breakdown in it and how it builds back up.
Yep.
I also love how that opening riff, like that opening riff, when they bring that back with the drums underneath it and the vocal over it, it actually took me probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years of listening to that as a kid before I realized, wait a minute, that riff, that's the same riff that's in the beginning of the song, 10-year-old me or 12-year-old me, it took, time to figure that out. But I just love that. I think it's a great arrangement. I think it's a really, really well arranged song that's very cinematic. So number 6, Sentinel. Number 5 is also a very, very cinematic song written by music by Les Banks.
Hmm.
What am I talking about, guys?
Beyond the Realms of Death.
Beyond the Realms of Death. Um, that song, just thinking about that song right now, you can't see it, but got goosebumps. It's just the vocal, the lyric, everything just touches a nerve. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way because obviously that song's a classic in their catalog for a reason. So I don't really know what else to say about that other than it's it has the elements of like a quote unquote proto power ballad, but it's not, right? It's just a gem of a song. And but it kind of is a precursor to that whole thing that you get later on done in kind of cheeseball fashion in the 80s where you get like the slow verses and then the heavy choruses and stuff. But this isn't a league of its own. So the Sentinel at number 6, Beyond the Realms of Death, number 5.
Nice. Maybe we'll hear more about those later, or maybe we won't. We'll have to see. My number 6, I'm going to pull a Rich Catino here from Sea of Tranquility. I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to put two connected songs together. Going Sad Wings of Destiny, 1976, Dreamer Deceiver, coupled with Deceiver. Almost 6 minutes and then a little under 3 minutes. So it's like a 9-minute epic together. And I can't separate these songs. And this duo of tunes really shows off Rob's vocal range. And I'm saying that slow, hard to say fast. I love Ian Hill's bass presence here. A passionate guitar solo is included in the first part, and it's a gem of a solo. Rob shrieks up a storm, and Tipton adds some tinkling piano to the end of part one, to the end of the Dreamer Deceiver part. And then it goes right into part two, like Brent said, with those guitars. So I wrote down it's a riff fest and more glass shattering vocals from Rob here. It's aggressive. Grand guitar solo in the middle leads back into the main galloping riff. It's got that dun 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 dun, 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 which of course Iron Maiden would sort of base their early career on that. And this is sort of where it started.
Yeah.
An abrupt ending then cools down with a 25-second outro of some nice chiming acoustic guitar playing. This I wrote down is exemplary and proggy. A 9-minute turbocharged and rampaging number, put them both together. Love it from Sad Wings of Destiny, Dreamer Deceiver, coupled with Deceiver. And then, unfortunately, I'm doing the same thing with my number 5, since this is a very brief guitar intro, 40 seconds, from Screaming for Vengeance 1982. The opening track, The Hellion, the instrumental, with the great electric guitar work and the crashing cymbals and drums, into Electric Eye, 3 minutes, 42 seconds. This was number 38 on the Billboard Mainstream Rock Chart back in 1982. This is the first Priest album I ever bought with my own money in 1982. Love that cover. I wrote down that the instrumental intro goes into the rocking and rollicking Electric Eye. Tipton on lead guitar, he appeals off some tasty, nasty riffs and solos too. Dave Holland and Ian Hill make their presence known, but they don't take away from the guitars and the vocals. Halford's vocal performance here is awesome because if you sing it, you sort of have to change your octaves, the different parts of the song. Great vocal performance. I love singing along with this tune. And it's based on Orwell's 1984, and it's very applicable or applicable, whichever way you want to say it, today, because there are cameras everywhere. At my job, when you go to the supermarket, when you go out in the city, Manhattan here, cameras all over, and they use it to catch bad guys. So cameras do work. Maybe they invade our privacy, but they do some good also. So that's what this song is about. My number 5, The Hellion / Electric Eye. My number 6, Dreamer Deceiver, coupled with Deceiver. Sorry for the cheat, guys.
No, that's fine. Well, yeah, I won't say anything about the cheat, but I do think you're right. Rob Halford is prophetic. He's prophetic. He had a prophecy
Well, he was Nostradamus, so
It's as if he was Nostradamus.
they have been.
Maybe he was.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He's the
Okay.
metal god.
Brent?
All right. Number 4, I'm going to go to the Point of Entry album, and I'm going with Solar Angels, my number 4 choice. Yes, Solar Angels. Great vocal melody from Rob. This song, like Brian said, I like the effects they put in there. When I listen to this song, this is going to sound cheesy, guys. It actually you get the sense of like flight. I just, it just kind of elevates you, the song. It just does. It's very uplifting in the tonality of the song on the whole. I think the thing that really makes it for me is the vocal melody. Love the lyrics. I'm not really a lyrics guy, more of a melody guy, but I do love the lyrics. I love the vocal melody. I also like that this is one of the guitar solos that they do where you can actually hum the solo. It's not a million miles an hour solo. It's very memorable, catchy solo where you know where the notes are. You heard it a million times, but you know it's coming, and it's just very tasty every time you hear it. So just a great song, top to bottom, top-notch Priest, top shelf Priest, Solar Angels. A completely different track I'm going to go with for my number 3, and I'm going to go back to the Defenders album. And I'm going to go with Free Will Burning. This, maybe a week or two from now, might be number 2, might be number 1, but for now, it's my number 3. I dare say what early speed metal at its finest. Frantic, like Brian said, it's like Dave's just, the wheels are about to come off on this song. And I think that's part of the charm of it. It's just a great, great early speed metal song. Quick, short story, real story about this song. Our dad was big into gospel music and country music, and we grew up listening to that in the house all the time. Our dad even sang in a gospel quartet for 30 years. Needless to say, we didn't want to do that. We decided to do something else. But occasionally he would say, I want you to listen to this. Would you just listen to this for me? So he would give me a song to listen to or whatever. And I just said, okay, on this particular day, I said, all right, I'll listen to this if you listen to something for me. And he agreed to do that. So after I got done listening to his song, I made him listen to Free Will Burning with his headphones on in the living room at the house. And I think he was pretty much speechless after he listened to that song. He didn't really have a whole lot to say. I think he would say that it's a quality product. It's a quality metal track, this particular song. Great.
I don't remember that, but okay.
True story. Great guitar work, like Davey said, that breakdown section in the middle where Rob is like singing, 53 syllables a second. It's just that more elite part is great, frantic, classic, metal, great guitar solos. I'm going to give Dave some flowers for the guitar work. I think Dave's an underrated and underappreciated drummer. I love Dave's drumming. So you can't go wrong with that song. Free Will Burning, and then number 4, Solar Angels.
On Free Will Burning, that fast part where he does the fast vocal like that, which of course has the guitar solo, in the middle, and then he comes back and he does that again. His screeches, his screaming at the end of that, with Dave Holland's drum roll back into the chorus is one of those hair stand up on the back of the neck moments. So good. So good.
You're talking about the part where he's going with victory on high?
Yes.
Yeah.
Victory on high.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Free will burning. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I up?
You're up.
Oh, okay.
4.
All right. So number 4, I'm gonna go with from Screaming for Vengeance, and Brent, I know you're kind of peeling these apart, but I kind of agree with Davey on this. The Hellion and Electric Eye is a package. They're just a package. Now, if you forced me, I'd say Electric Eye because it's the song with the lyric and the vocal and everything. But man, those two together, Dave, you've already talked about Electric Eye. I don't know what else to add to it. Great track. And then for my number 3, Riding on the Wind. And to me, Riding on the Wind has some of those great kind of like goosebump moments that like Free Will Burning does on the next album. But those those three tracks opening that album, Hellion slash Electric Eye, and then Riding on the Wind, that
Hmm.
is one of the best one, two, three punches on an album ever. I mean, it rivals. The other album that comes to mind is Rush's Counterparts. I think that just has just a slamming, few opening tracks.
Animate is awesome.
Oh God, Animate.
No.
Yeah, Stick It Out, and then Cut to the Chase. And then, then it goes into Nobody's Hero, which
He's
is
here.
nothing to sneeze at. As
Song.
this goes into Bloodstone,
Bloodstone.
which
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing to sneeze. I don't sneeze at Bloodstone. I don't know if you do, but I don't. Uh, so anyway, Electric Eye, Riding on the Wind, number 4 and number 3.
Great choices. My number 4 was mentioned already. From 1978, Stained Class, A Hair Under 7 Minutes, Beyond the Realms of Death. Covered by power metal act Blind Guardian for a Priest tribute album, and they stuck it on one of their records. This is the rare, like you said, the Halford Binks composition. It's Les Binks' only writing credit with the band because he came up with the main riff. And all 5 cats shine on this song. This is prog metal to me, I wrote down. Epic, driving, melodic, badass music. A total top tier tune to me. And go, Ian, go, because I think it's on the second guitar solo. You hear him doing some really cool bass work underneath, just this little fill. And it comes around, he does that little fill again. And oh, so cool. Beyond the Realms of Death, my number 4, one of their best songs. It's prog metal to me. I love it. Going on to my number 3, this is going to be an odd choice here. I'm going to the Turbo album from 1986
Hmm.
for my number 3 song. What the funky chicken is he talking about? Is it parental guidance? We don't need no parental guidance here. No,
Is
it's
it?
not a song. It's not.
Okay, okay, okay.
It's not
Okay.
parental guidance.
Thank
Is
you.
it rock you all around the world? Rock you all around the world. No, it's
But
not rock you all around the world. It is the epic 6.5 minute song Out in the Cold, baby,
Mm.
from Turbo. The
nice
intro
pick.
guitar, it's guitar synth, intro guitar synth by Glenn. The solo in the first half is by KK. The solo in the second half, back to Glenn. The best song on Turbo to me, it places super high on my list. I know everyone's freaking out that it's so high. As a prog keyboard cat myself, I've always loved the guitar synth in this song. It's pomp, it's prog, it's hard rock, it's metal, whatever the heck you want to call it. I just dig it. Halford shines here and doesn't appear till almost a minute 50 into the song. Very long intro, but it's a cool intro. And then you get that drum beat. Who knows if it's synth drums, fake drums, real drums, but you get that with Tipton on the guitar synth, and then you get that psh, psh, every so often. You get Ian Hill with the bass notes there. It's another catchy ear candy chorus. And on the second verse, when Halford does the oh no shrieks, love that part. Sort of low in the background, almost like a background vocal. Awesome.
Hmm.
Hill's bass can be heard here too on this song. I know it's an odd choice, but I was weaned on 80s Priest because the first 3 I bought, Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, and then Turbo. And I've always enjoyed this song immensely. And I love the way Rob Halford harmonizes with himself when he's singing in the lower register and the higher register. Sounds amazing. Out in the Cold is my number 3. And like I said, although I moved the page, here it is on my master list, Beyond the Realms of Death at number 4. An odd choice, but you got to be honest here. So I'm putting Out in
Yeah,
the Cold at number
I
3.
I agree. I think that is arguably the best song on that record. Um, I like the title track, Turbo Lover,
That's
but
good too.
I like it. I actually think it works well as a live song, but as far as like the best song on that album, I think it's out in the cold. Yeah.
I might have to pick Private Property. I love that song.
Do
Oh,
you?
or Reckless? But
Hmm.
here's a question for Davey about Out in the Cold, because we know that Priest opened their tour, their set with that. How do you think that worked as a set opener?
a little unusual, but it builds and builds and builds, and it builds the excitement. Then when it crashes in,
Because
that's
I like, like you said, the intro is really long and expanded, like on the Priest live video, where Rob finally comes strutting out after about a minute and a half on
Mhm.
stage. It's nice mullet and everything that he's got, the slick back hair.
Yeah. You know,
Very,
back in the day, I didn't think it was a good opener at all. I was like, oh man, that's just such a weak opener. But my opinion about that has changed completely about that. It's got some drama to it as an opening to a show.
the word drama. That's the perfect word. Great
Mhm.
description.
Mhm.
yeah. Nice pick, Davey. Another curveball.
Yep.
Thank you.
All
Brent,
right.
we're getting
My
number
wrap
two,
it up.
number one, right?
2-1. All right. So we're gonna go back to my number two. We're gonna go back to the uh, Screaming for Vengeance album, and we're gonna go with Devil's Child, which I I don't know. I'm at a loss for words almost. The breakdown section in the middle while Rob does those freakishly insane vocals. We talk a lot about how
Oh
his
yeah.
vocals kind of give us the chills or makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. It's like that part of the song, the studio version or live, does it to me every single time. The main riff is killer. The vocal melody is killer. I would have liked to have seen, like, how that Rob, or not Rob, but Glenn and Ken, they play the same guitar part in the beginning. They just basically mirror each other with that same riff at the beginning of the song. It would have been kind of cool to hear if they would have, like, maybe done some harmony work or something, or maybe one of them would have played a little bit of a different lick on it. But it is a strong riff. It's got a great breakdown midsection, killer vocal from Rob, just like a haunting, spine-chilling vocal from Rob on that song. So I'm going to go with Devil's Child as my number two. And number one, and this was never a doubt, never any question, I'm going to go to the Sin After Sin album, and Sinner is my number one Judas Priest song. It is the ultimate Judas Priest song. It has everything anybody could ever want in a Judas Priest song. It's got the killer riff. It's got the great vocal and the great vocal melody. And I think I finally decided that it does have the greatest breakdown section in rock music history. The bridge is so good. The vocals are so haunting. His vocals during that breakdown section are chilling, with Ian's bass just kind of plodding away underneath, and there's those little haunting guitar leads that Ken puts in with his tremolo bar. Just gives you this creepy, just this nasty, just I can't even put into words how it makes me feel. It's just every time I hear it gets me every time. And then how they work out of that midsection back into the main riff, and it builds and builds and builds toward the end, and this grand ending right where he talks about the sinner, and this big crash at the end with the drums and everything. It's just the write out is just beautiful. It's just, I don't know if I would call it a prog song. There might be some prog elements in it, which is very interesting. But my God, is that a good song? So for me, when you gave the assignment, I started writing down songs. The first one I wrote down was Sinner. I put a number one next to it. That song is the ultimate Judas Priest classic. Number two, Devil's Child. Number one, people, believe me on this, Sinner. Number one.
It made all our lists, so
Huh?
there's no denying its greatness.
Yep.
Nope.
Okay.
Don't even try.
Well, it's hard, it's hard to follow your enthusiasm on that, you know? Uh,
Sorry.
I don't know if I can match the level of enthusiasm with my number two and my number one. Um, and of course, with a band that's been around this long and a catalog that's this broad, my number two, my number one might be different on different days, but I do come back to this number one probably more often than a lot of these other songs. So, but number two first, from Painkiller, A Touch of Evil. And, Dave, you've already mentioned A Touch of Evil. You mentioned Don Airey's role in it. I'm just going to say it kind of like with Out in the Cold, with Beyond the Realms of Death, A Touch of Evil has drama to it. It has pathos in the lyric. It's if you kind of understand where Rob's writing from, his perspective, and just trying to keep that in context when you're listening to it. And there's just a passion in that vocal that again, it's just one of those goosebump moments. And it's a perfect track. And I think you could double check me on this, but I think Chris Sangarides actually helped write it as well. It's one of the few outside. I think it's maybe the only, because I don't think Tom Allen ever got a writing credit. I think it's the only time a producer got a credit on an album that's not self-produced. So Touch of Evil, number 2, and my number 1, written by Ken and Glenn, Burning Up.
Wow.
There's something about the riff in Burning Up. It's got a groove to it. It's Judas Priest on the verge of funk.
It is.
It's just that riff, and it just everything about it is just so damn cool. And I love the rhythm work underneath the guitar solo of it, and the way the guitar solo just builds and builds, and it comes back into the last verse, and they're just cranking out those open chords when Rob comes back in. It's just awesome. Awesome.
How about Rob's vocal on that song,
It's
man?
great.
It's almost like it's laid back. It's like
That's
he's just sitting there, just kind of, just throwing out some vocals here.
It's just matter of fact, delivery of his, and it's so different than so many other things that he's done. So I know it's weird. It's a weird number 1, but let me put it this way. When I listen to Burning Up, it's one of the Priest songs that as soon as it's over, I just go back and hit it and I hear it again. I will listen to Burning Up probably 3, 4, 5 times in a row if I'm listening to that album. I don't know why. It just hits me. So there we go. My number 1. My number 2, Touch of Evil. Number 1, Burning Up.
Can I ask you a question, Brian?
Sure.
Can I ask you? A lot of people love Killing Machine, Hellbent for Leather. That I think, as Martin Popoff said, that's his favorite Priest album. I think he has. For me, Burning Up is by far the best song on that record. Would you agree, or do you think there's some other songs that kind of close? I think that's
we could go to more depth on that when we do like the Priest catalog, but I'm going to say, I'll just say this. I think there are some other tracks on that are really, really red hot.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
2 surprises there. Wow. Touch of Evil at number 2. That threw me for a loop.
Mm.
And you guys have some similar songs, and Brian and I have some similar songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brent and I also have a few in common, like my number 2, 5 minutes long, 1984, Defenders of the Faith, The Sentinel. Amazing side 1 closer on the original vinyl, which is what I had 40 plus years ago in 1984 when I was a wee lad. Riffarama with Rob's range at its peak performance here. Oh, those gasoline-fueled for life guitar solos in this song. Then that stellar bridge section before the last minute of chorus chaos and massive guitars. This is brutal, beautiful. It's a story song. I love it. The Sentinel, my number 2. Excellent song. And then my number 1, just like you, Brent. When I started my list, I knew what my number 1 was. It's always been my favorite song since I heard it way back in the day, in the late 80s at Titus Oaks Record and CD Exchange where I worked. 8 minutes long, just about, from Sad Wings of Destiny, 1976, Victim of Changes. And the studio version is the one that I like the best because you get that truly mind-boggling vocal performance by Halford. It's always been my favorite Judas Priest song since I first heard it. You get Al Atkins, Rob Halford, KK Downing, and Glenn Tipton. They created and crafted the perfect Priest song. It's two songs jammed together, but it's still amazing. Twin turbo guitar fury, I wrote down. The birth of prog metal, along with Rainbow and Rush at the time. Simply stunning. My number one, Victim of Changes. The live versions are great too. So my two, The Sentinel. My number one, A Victim of Changes.
Nice.
Thank
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue with Victim of Changes.
Yeah.
Such an awesome song. Now we got a few minutes left, so why don't we name 3 honorable mentions each, starting off with Mr. Brent.
Okay. I'm going to go to the album Davey just mentioned, Sad Wings of Destiny. And we're going to go with Tyrant as an honor, my number 15.
What a riff.
What a killer riff. And also Rob's vocal where he just says, Tyrant.
Yep.
Is there any other song in the catalog where he just says like Tyrant?
No.
How effective is that? And like you guys said, the riff, what a killer riff. One of the greatest riffs they ever did, Tyrant. My next one, I'm going to go to the British Steel album, and I'm going to say you don't have to be old to be wise. You know what I'm saying? You don't ever.
Good deep cut.
Such a great song, and when they played that whole record live for its anniversary on that tour some years ago, the live version of that is killer. It's almost got a poppy feel to it, right? It's almost like a pop metal song, but just a killer riff. Great vocal from Rob, great vocal melody, and great guitar work from Ken and Glenn. Love that song. That's my number 14, if I were putting it in order. And my last honorable mention is from Point of Entry, and it is Troubleshooter.
Wow, deep track again.
Like Brian said, when he could listen to his number one song, Burning Up, over and over and over again, if I listen to Troubleshooter once, I listen to it probably about 4 times. Once is not enough. It's a great hard rock song. I think we would agree it's not really a metal song, but the chorus is so catchy and hooky, and it's just got such a great feel to it. Priest didn't write a whole lot of songs before or after some of the stuff that's on that record. I think that's what makes songs like You Say Yes and Turning Circles and Troubleshooter so cool. I mean, I could have gone with like Desert Plains or a number of songs off that record, but Troubleshooter for me is, I've just always had a sweet spot for Troubleshooter. So my honorables are Tyrant. You don't have to be old to be wise. So you don't let anybody tell you that you do. You don't. And then Troubleshooter.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So for me, so I'm doing this in 15, 14, 13. That's kind of the order I'm doing it in. So from a much maligned record, Ram It Down, I'm going to go with Hard as Iron.
Yes.
The deep cut. Whoa.
Nice pick. Nice pick.
I love Hard as Iron. I wish it had actual real drums on it. When I listen to that, I'm thinking, yeah, this is definitely one of the tracks here. If not, I think the whole album is basically drum machine.
For the most part, I think, yeah.
Yeah, when I listen to that one, it's like, yeah, I just tell myself Dave Holland is playing like a machine. That's just what I just tell myself, and that doesn't really work. But I still love the song. I don't know why it hit me hard as iron when I heard it the first time, and I still love it. So Hard as Iron. Brent, you mentioned other tracks from Killing Machine a moment ago, and this is one reason why I kind of stayed mum on that, because Delivering the Goods.
Oh yeah, well, good pick.
Delivering the Goods. That is just a crunchy song. It's just, yeah, and you know, Rob, we all love it when Rob sings, you know, or screams in his really high register, but he's so good in the mid range too. He's got yeah, okay, I don't.
Yeah.
you trying to describe Rob's voice is just sometimes you're at a loss for words. So hard as iron, delivering the goods, and then I'm going to go with a more of a recent track, "Rising from Ruins" from Firepower. That song is another one that brings the hairs up, that gives me the goosebumps. And I love how there's the piano intro called Guardians that later on in the middle of Rising from Ruins, they recapitulate that piano melody just with guitars. And it's like, those two back to back are just as a really killer little punch, 1-2 punch. So hard as iron, delivering the goods, Rising from Ruins.
Nice, some later catalog love.
Mm,
And
for sure.
speaking of that, an album that I did a bunch of YouTube shows on my channel, a bunch of other channels, from Invincible Shield, the bonus cut, one of the bonus cuts, 3 minutes 52 seconds long, written by Bob Halligan Jr.
Whoa.
Lodger.
Oh,
I
Whoa.
love
take
the
me.
Lodger. That was always the song that grabbed me from that album. I mean, there
I
were
am
other great
surprised.
songs from Invincible Shield, the title track, Panic Attack, The Serpent and the King. All
Oh
those songs
God.
are great.
Serpent and the
But the,
King's amazing.
but the Lodger is the one I always went back to. It just has that memorable chorus with Halford singing Bob Halligan Jr.'s lyrics. Vengeance is mine. I just love that. Vengeance is mine. And I used to go around the house singing that, driving Tia crazy when that record came out. Because that's the song that's stuck in my head. So from Invincible Shield, my number 15 is The Lodger. Number 14, I'm going back to the debut album, 1974, Rockarola. Released as a single, no chart action. The title track, 3 minutes, 5 seconds, Rockarola. I
I
just
love
love
that
that.
song.
It's the guitar work on there. Just
Yeah.
so good, so catchy.
I'm so glad that that got on somebody's list.
Yes,
Yeah.
glad to hear it. And my number 13, I'm going to use this to represent all the great songs that Priest covered over the years. There are a lot of them, but I think my favorite from Sin After Sin, another single, no chart action at all, three and
Mm.
a half minutes, Diamonds and Rust. And on YouTube, everyone, there's a great acoustic version of it with just Glenn and Ken, as you guys call them, and Halford. I think that's the lineup. Just playing an acoustic version of it. It's great. And I love the electric version from Sin After Sin. Really good cover version. Joan Baez, right? That's an old Joan
Yes.
Yeah.
Baez folk
Right.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idolized by Priest, and they did that with a bunch of songs, but that's the one I'm using to represent all their great covers, the Green Monalishi, the old Fleetwood Mac blues number, and we're not going to mention every song. So those are my three
Yeah.
honorables: The Lodger, Rockarola, and Diamonds and Rust.
Nice
Awesome.
picks.
Thank you. So we had some crossover, we had a lot of
Yeah.
differences, and you guys had a lot of deep tracks, and I had a
Mhm.
couple, so
Yeah, definitely.
a nice
Yeah.
cross section.
Yeah.
No Johnny Be Good, guys? Come on. I was figuring one of you guys would.
It was my number 16. It was really close. Really close.
Yeah, I'd have to add up how many songs are in their catalog in the totality and
But it
put it
Got to be
maybe.
over 100, closer to 200.
Yeah, it's so Johnny B. Good would rank down there along with like maybe Dead Meat from Jugulator. So
Yeah,
maybe sometime maybe we do the 12 worst songs. We come back and we reconvene and we do the
yeah,
12 worst songs.
ooh, we get a lot of hate mail for that.
I know, right?
Maybe.
Or worse, might be someone's favorite, so you never know. Everyone hears
That's
things
true.
differently, as Master Smarto
Absolutely.
says.
That's
And
what's great about it, right? That's what's great about it.
yeah, well, and when Pete says that, he's absolutely right.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, guys, why don't you tell us about your band, the Underlords of the Overworld?
Sure, Brent, you want me to kind of pop in there and do that?
Yeah, I think you're a better spokesman than I am. So yeah, I'll turn it over to you.
I'll just do the real kind of nutshell version of it. So, uh, we used to play music when we were kids, and we wrote and recorded songs when we were kids, and then as life goes on, we just never let it go, basically, and we started playing and writing stuff again, and Could never find a vocalist because we didn't live in your neck of the woods. You know, we would have called you if we had known. But anyway,
Exactly.
but we couldn't find a vocalist, so we just started writing instrumental stuff, and we were just writing and recording. And our drummer got a job in Arkansas, and so we said, "Well, we got to record professionally just to get a good solid recording down." And we did like 3 tracks, and then we stumbled across another drummer, and we were like, "Oh, let's just keep doing this." And so we recorded a few more tracks, and then that drummer left. It's kind of like Spinal Tap. We just couldn't keep a drummer.
Or Judas Priest.
Or Judas Priest, right?
Gone through half a dozen drummers.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like but no vocalist, couldn't keep a drummer, but we were just having fun, writing and recording stuff. And then COVID hit, and Josh, our bass player, he writes under the name H. Prescott Lemon. He had started writing, and his books are available on Amazon, but he started writing just a kind of an alternate universe goofball. I'd say it's like I call it like 99.9% fiction, 0.1% truth. It's kind of a farcical alternate history of ourselves, kind of silly. And during the COVID years, we did this album. It's called Hell Comes in Small Packages, and it's actually a bunch of character songs that are referenced in the books, because it's kind of like in Spinal Tap or like in A Mighty Wind. If you've seen A Mighty Wind, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've got the different, like not just the folksmen, but the different groups. And so we were like, well, there's a country artist referenced in the song, in the story, and there's a blues artist referenced in the story. So we did an album. We called it Underlords and Friends because we had guests on it, and on the back it's got what the different artists are, and it's just silliness is all it is. But if you when you get around to reading the stories, you'll go like, oh, that's where Scurvy and Ricketts comes in, or that's where Dirk Snicket comes in, or whatever, So these awesome other guys. And then we did this Travelers in Time, which we snagged the title from the Uriah Heep tune, Traveler in Time. And that is another story that Josh wrote. Oh, it's the 4th in the series. And because we couldn't keep a drummer, it was the whole theme of the story is literally traveling through space and time to try to find a drummer. And these warlocks from the Middle Ages end up like traveling through time, kind of. It's like they're antagonists in the story, and we were just back to writing instrumental stuff. So they're like instrumental themes based on the 4 main antagonists in the story. And by the way, that album cover is a takeoff of another 1970s album cover. It's a little less obvious, but I'll give you a clue. It's 1976.
I'm looking at it, but
1976. Oh, here's another hint. In 78, they would do solo albums with corresponding colors.
it's got to be Kiss.
Does that look like a little bit like Destroyer? The Destroyer was the inspiration for that. It's a little harder to notice.
Because
But
it's
yeah.
a different color scheme. You got the 4K. Yeah, now I see it that you've mentioned it.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be like a parody of Destroyer. It was more like we said to the artist, "Hey, something like this," and then that's what he did. But yeah, so it was designed with Destroyer in mind. So anyway, that's just kind of what we do. And around that time, this guy Andy that we'd gotten to know, he's a multi-instrumentalist and he's a producer and stuff, and he's been doing stuff with us ever since. And so, and on top of that, we have another drummer as well. His name's Blake. So we actually have 2 drummers now. So the irony is it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's just what we do. We don't expect to make any money on it. It's just we're just doing it just to have fun. That's all it is. It's
Creative outlet.
that's it. And if somebody wants to support it, that's great. And if they don't, that's great too. Either way. you know.
Just briefly mention the upcoming album coming out in April or so.
Yeah, like I said, it is available for streaming right now. It's called Lottery of Your Life, and it kind of represents a breakdown uh, because through the COVID years up until the recent years, it's been harder to get together, even recently, because our friend Andy, he does an Elton John, Billy Joel tribute act. He's in a dueling pianos thing. He was recently playing in a country band. Our other drummer, Blake, he plays in several different things too. So it's really hard to get us all together and all focused. And it's so Josh started writing a story about kind of the twists of fate that happen in your life that um, keep you from kind of pursuing or meeting your goals. And anyway, long story short, in typical Josh fashion, he did it kind of weaving a ridiculous yarn using the characters. So it's part five, it's book five in the series, and we did an album that corresponds with it, and all of the lyrics on that album, because like you said earlier, it does have vocals. Our friend Andy did lead vocals on all of it. Um, the songs were written so that they can stand alone lyrically. They're a little cryptic. You don't really have to know the story or understand the story to get the songs or to like the songs or to find something interesting in them. But if you do get to that book five and you read it, the lyrics might start to make a little bit more sense at the same time.
But it's
So we did
very
that kind of.
hooky. The songs are hooky. They have catchy choruses that stick
Thank
in
you.
your head after you hear it a couple of times.
Yeah. Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
we had former Iron Maiden singer Blaze Bailey sing a
Yeah.
track for us. We had Derek Schrinning play on a couple songs
Mhm.
that we did, and those are on this record as well. So that we're really excited to get their
Yes.
participation.
Those were out. Those songs are out as singles digitally, but on the CD they'll be packaged with the album as like bonus tracks for anybody who wants. They serve. They're good as coasters.
Yeah.
Or you know.
Yep.
They work well.
Paperweights.
Yeah.
And then David, we're working on another album too that hopefully it'll be out. I'm hoping. I don't know. I can't speak for the rest of the guys, but by the end of the year, we're hearing some mixes right now for some of the songs, and it sounds really, really good. We got some work to do on it, but
Yeah. It's called Smaller Than Death,
yep.
Oh.
and
Wait, vocal or instrumental?
both.
Okay.
And it's this is a volume of short stories that are in the broader universe that Josh has created again as H. Prescott Lemon.
Right.
And so that new album that we're kind of working on is kind of a parallel to that. So yeah,
Called Smaller Than Death.
there's nothing else to do in the Midwest, you know?
Make music.
Yeah.
Write books. That's great.
Yeah.
Outlet.
Talk about Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Well,
Books.
And just last thing, if you want to bring up your YouTube channel and
Oh, sure.
maybe say what your most recent videos are or what you're working on that's coming up.
Yeah, so we do the YouTube channel just because we sit around and talk about this stuff all the time anyway, and we just said, well, maybe we can, you know, we'll just zoom in and do our discussions about Judas Priest or whatever, like we always would, new releases, movies and stuff, and we'll just put them up there, and if somebody wants to, follow what we're doing, that's great, and so we just kind of added that to the mix, and we've been doing, gosh, what was the last video we did, Brent? Because we don't do them as regularly as, some folks out there like Pete who he works his tail off
Yeah, every
getting
day.
stuff.
Well, the last one we did would have been the Captain Beyond
That's
one.
right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we just did a Captain Beyond with our buddy Travis. So yeah. We're going to be doing at some point we're going to be starting a series on Uriah Heep.
Oh,
Brent, you and I have talked about doing the Black Country Communion albums.
Yeah.
live album.
Mm-hmm.
Dream
Yeah.
Theater, because the new Dream Theater album came out. I'm working my way through the Dream Theater catalog.
Yeah.
There's a book or two that we're thinking about doing an episode on because we like to do movies occasionally, books.
Yeah.
I was going to say that horror movies. You guys have dipped your toe into horror movies recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not,
We
not
won
quite,
a classic one, so
yeah, not quite as extensively as Pete's done with his
right.
monsters den, but we still like to touch on that because it's part of why we do what we do, you know. It's like the things that influence us to do what we do.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Brent, you and I, we both read this Raise Your Glasses on the
Yeah, that's a
Kiss
good one.
catalog. So, but yeah, that's the
I think
stuff.
like what Brian said, and our friend Tom Curlis has said this. I talk about this stuff anyway. Why don't I just film myself talking about it? We talk about this stuff all the time. Let's just film ourselves talking about it. So that's what we do. We like to talk about music, and music brings people together, right?
Oh yeah,
Always brings people together.
absolutely.
This is a
Yeah.
great example of that.
And
Love it.
I've been on Tom's channel, I think half a dozen times. Curlis Mania.
Yep.
I've been talking to him about trying to get something together. We want to get him on our channel or something like that. So hopefully we'll do that. I love
He's
Tom, love
busy. He's
We'll
got
see.
kids. He's got his family, and he's
his
wrapped
music.
up on his videos right now. I filmed something with him a few weeks ago. It hasn't even aired yet. So part 3 of our Cars series, focusing
Excellent.
on Panorama from 1980. That should be coming up hopefully in a week or two on Curlis Mania. So
Fun.
I look forward. Tell him to get that ready to go. I look forward to that. I love your Cars episodes.
oh,
Great stuff.
thank you.
Great stuff.
Yeah, Tom's a great guy. And talk
Yeah.
about a singer. That guy's a real singer. I love when Tom sings in our videos. So great voice. Musician, just like you guys. Guitar player. He started out as a drummer. Tom Curlis, check out Curlis Mania. And check out the Cleveland Brothers on YouTube under the name Underlords. Wait, is it? Yeah, Underlords
Universe.
Underlords Universe.
Yep.
It's confusing because the name of the band is Underlords of the Overworld. The YouTube channel Underlords Universe. So Underlords Universe is their YouTube channel. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. We'll
Thanks
talk
for having us.
air.
Thanks, Davey.
Thanks for coming on. And we'll talk about a future collaboration off the air. Thanks for sticking with us for Judas Priest Top 12 Tunes here. And I want everyone to rock out, prog on, and pogo. Thanks, men, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night or a good morning or a good afternoon, everyone. Arrivederci.